Bill Stevens, Pole Place, Edison. First item is kind of housekeeping. When we're talking about an issue that's this important, I disagree with the council president. You do not have a right to be mute on this. The public has the right to know how much information the council has on this before they take any vote on something. They also have a right to know what impact the witnesses that you're presenting to us have on that very subject. I'm real concerned because I've been told a couple times at meetings here about, well, we give them the plan. Who is making up this plan? Where does this plan come from? I don't understand. Because if you're saying you think they're sharper than you are, yet you're going to make up the plan, I don't know who's making up the plan. Simple question. I mean, everybody keeps talking about the plan. Who makes up the plan to decide what is going to be looked at, what isn't going to be looked at, and what information is going to be in that plan in terms of direction? Because I even heard the attorney say that tonight, that they follow this plan. Well, where's the plan coming from? I have 6 minutes.
Yes, you do, sir.
All right, being as how nobody knows where the plan's coming from that everybody's stating their reputations on, let's go on to the next step. I'm very concerned, quite frankly, I'm very concerned about this gentleman over here because he seems to be playing both sides of the aisle. I know the township hired them to look at redevelopment and port conference here. I didn't mean to interrupt it. And yet, and to me, redevelopment would occur, and I don't know because apparently none of you know, after something is deemed an area in need of redevelopment. Yet, he's sending an associate to all of the planning board meetings on Revlon to determine whether it is an area in need of redevelopment, and his associates doing cross-examination. Now, talking about drumming up your own business, I mean, that's insane. I mean, if that's their job, to, after something's deemed an area in need of redevelopment, and Merlin comes up with this plan to do the redevelopment, then they should get involved. Why they're involved up front is beyond me. Another question we've been asking over and over and over from day one, if this has been going on, and we know for a fact that Harts Mountain has given the township a ton of money to pay this gentleman and his associates, and this has been going on, why wouldn't you keep going on that same track? Why would all of a sudden you be looking for municipal funds to fund this agency? Has anybody ever done any due diligence up there in terms of understanding what is really taking place here now? This isn't about political sparring. This is about the survival of Edison Township. And you don't seem to get it. We're not here because we're for you or against you. We're here because we think that there's about to be a critical mistake made that's going to take this township down a road we're not going to be able to come back up. Also, all of the good things, Mr. Baumann also as a bonding attorney said that they had spent a year working on INCAP and their professionals to negotiate a financial agreement to deal with the treatment of payment and call payment in lieu of taxes. This whole company now, nobody's liable? This company's bankrupt. Who's responsible for all that money? You heard about the court decision tonight. If an agency takes and runs up a big debt and bonds, let me ask a simple question like that. Who is responsible for these bonds? The agency or the township? We don't know who's responsible for the bonds. We don't know who comes up with the plan.
Ultimately, it's the township. It's the township.
It depends if it's recourse debt or it's not recourse debt.
Pardon?
If it's recourse debt against the township, then the township's obligated for it. But I think we talked about that, Mr. Baumann, correct?
Yeah, Council President, I apologize. If you want me to answer a question, I'd be happy to. I'm looking to you for direction.
Well, if you're able to answer the residents' questions, that would be helpful.
Jump in? Okay. I tried to make a list. In terms of the bonds, I think as we tried to explain already, if the the only way bonds could be issued for which the township would be liable for the payment of would require township approval, meaning this township council. On the issue of pilots or tax abatements, which a number of speakers have spoken about, pilots can only be done by this council. They cannot be done by a redevelopment agency. So any financial agreement related to a pilot or tax abatement has to be done by this, by a council action. In terms of secrecy and privatization, the redevelopment agency is subject to the same rules that this council is, Open Public Meetings Act, Open Public Records Act. So there are hold meetings like these meetings, the public will attend, so it'll be done in the open. And who does the plan? As I think the council knows, having gone through the Harts Mountain plan, it was done by, in that instance, an outside planner retained by the township council, Clark, Caton, and Hintz. In the case of Jackson Avenue, it was done by an in-house planner, Randy Forbes.
Okay, is this agency held accountable to Oprah request?
That's what he said it was.
All right. Who picks the builder?
I'm not sure the question. Who picks the builder for what?
Well,
Harts.
to build whatever the project is.
Well,
I
let's
mean, I'm
let's use
assuming
Harts. We'll use Harts as a good example again.
No,
Harts.
Harts picked us, sir. This was before we had a redevelopment.
No, my point is the property owner presumably will pick their builder.
All right, so it's the property of whoever they sell it to, and then we're just going to come in and manage that, for lack of better terms.
We're going to make sure that the council's redevelopment plan is implemented properly.
Well, let's do the train station.
And we, I mean the redevelopment agency.
For instance, they come out, and so did Harts come out. Both of them come out, and they had a plan. And they said, this is what we would like to see done in both of these projects.
The train station is probably a good example to talk about. Before that train station project could ever see the redevelopment agency, a couple things have to happen. First, the planning board would have to review the area and determine that it's an area in need of redevelopment and make a recommendation to the council. The council would then have to determine that they agree with the planning board that it's an area in need of redevelopment and vote in the affirmative. Subsequently, a redevelopment plan would have to be considered by the planning board. Comments would have to be sent to this council. The council would then have to take another vote and again determine that the redevelopment plan is appropriate for that area.
Okay.
Finally,
When we're doing all of that, who's developing the plan?
let me just.
I understand exactly what you're saying, and
Well,
I
it's important that I
understand why
finish
you're
what I'm saying. I just want to finish what I'm saying. It takes 2 more seconds. And then the third action by this council will be to designate the redevelopment agency as the entity to manage that plan. So the council would have to take effectively 3 actions before that particular project could end up in the hands of the redevelopment agency for implementation.
Right. They would have to do the same thing with Revlon, I would think, too, right? Yet your associates, they're cross-examining to take and drive it to be an area in need of redevelopment. Now, what authority do you have doing that if you're really supposed to be responsible for just redevelopment?
Our experience has been that redevelopment projects, if in order to be done properly, need to be done properly from the first step, as opposed to having to be redone later. So we typically, in the best, most successful projects, we're actually involved in at the earliest stages so that those fundamental steps don't go awry early on. And that's
So you're kind of authoring the plan, though, even though we don't want to actually say that.
You can say whatever you like, sir. As I said, Clark, Caton, and Hens.
Well, if your guy's there driving them to declare
You're not going to let
an
me
area...
finish. Are you not
No,
going to let me finish? I will finish.
Yeah, well,
I really.
finish.
You can talk, and then I can talk, and we can have a civil conversation. But I need to finish my sentences, please. That's all I'm
Okay.
asking. Okay. Harts Mountain was designed by the planner with input from the council. We had a subcommittee. We had many, many meetings. It took about a year, but it was done by a planner retained by this governing body, Clark, Caton, and Hens. I didn't author the plan. I participated in the process to make sure it was done legally. The Jackson Avenue is being done by Brandy Forbes. Again, I am not the author of the plan, a planner is, but I participated in the process to make sure it's done properly.
All right, but who's doing Revlon?
Mr. Stevens, I appreciate the dialogue. It's been pretty good, but you're a little past your time, and you're
All right,
certainly welcome
no,
to come back up again.
I can come back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Prupus?